Okay, so let me get this thing. There we go. Okay, so 5.2 scheduling. So now we're going to start applying some of these terms, and this is like remember the states one from ASL 1. There's a bunch of different holidays and things. Start with the ones that are most useful for you. Be familiar with them so that when you watch the conversation videos, you can get them. But there's no expectation that you're going to memorize all of these right away. Memorize the ones that are useful to you. Um, as with any chapter, make your own list of what are the vocab words that will be useful in your own life, and capitalize on those. So we're going to be looking at events, and there's a couple different signs for events. It comes from the sign for thrill, like woohoo, that's kind of cool, right? Events, or you'll sometimes see events, and it's there's a rotation. It's kind of like two gates coming down. So I can do it from the side. Boom, happen, happen. Events, things like that. And here I'll put the video for this in here. And again, I may, if I add any videos, I may add them to this PowerPoint. I also have found one other teacher has posted just a quick vocab review. He's got all of chapter 5 in one video, and I've tried to do the time stamps in YouTube in the link in the modules. So hopefully it will open up at the right place. Now, the two snapshots, homecoming, HC, and then there's one that talks about regional variations. One of the big things about homecoming for deaf schools, especially schools for the deaf where the cultures has a legacy, homecoming is a really big deal. Now, I don't know if anybody went to a private school or went to some sort of, I know my friends who go to like St. Ed's or one of the other Catholic schools or Franciscan schools, their homecoming tends to be more than my high school, which was a public high school. Most people didn't give a crap about homecoming. It was just another football game. But for schools with that kind of sort of legacy, alumni become a really big thing. Look at how big the homecoming at Ohio State is and stuff like that, where I suppose if you give a crap for football, it probably is important. I never really cared. But for deaf schools, homecoming is a big deal, more so than any other holiday, because it's the chance for all the alumni to come back. And in ASL 1, you probably got the impression that deaf schools are important because that's that legacy, passing on down, generation after generation after generation of deaf people within their families, also meeting other families. And as new people enter into the deaf community, children who are born deaf, become deaf, who end up going into the school, they become part of that community. And then the extended family. So deaf school homecomings tend to be pretty big deal. If you ever get a chance to go visit Gallaudet at their homecoming, it's a really big deal. Okay, so that's all I need to really talk. The second one is on regional variations. And we've shown some things of in one area sign is signed this way. In others, there's other sign variations. None of them are incorrect. Some people will tell you, oh, that's not the right sign for this. It's just, what you learn in Kent and Ohio may be different than what you see on the West Coast or at Gallaudet. Or we're trying to be as broad-based as possible. But that's not always... it's not always possible because the textbooks often have very specific signs. And if you learn from a teacher who has very specific regional signs, they may say, this is the right way, even though there are some broader possibilities. So I try to be pretty open in terms of I'm fine with any sign that you learned, but try to learn more than just that one so that you can be more flexible. So celebration, I'm not going to go over every piece of vocab because most of them are reviewed in that video, or you can get it from What's the Sign, but some of the most broad, celebrate, 2 X's, and then you circle them up. Celebrate. National is also the sign for natural, national. It's sort of a placeholder generic sign. And then holiday, we do break, right? If you remember that from ASL 1. But if you wiggle the fingers, it means like holiday. Decorate. So if you've got the decorations and you're like sticking them up on the wall, decorate, 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 decorate. Symbol, symbol. Sometimes you'll see it with an S, and that's very signed English, but symbol, to symbolize something, to show for it, to take the place for it. Parade. You're going to take, remember, parades are pretty organized. So we're going to use the fours. Parade. So here are the lines of people all marching. Parade, parade, parade. Patriotic. I need to look up which one they're using. Most of the time I've seen patriotic, like salute or honor. It's a very politically charged word right now. And I've seen like to the flag. Flag, here's the flagpole, here's the flag, right? So take a look at the options in what's the sign for patriotic, just to sort of look at the different options. Observances. I don't know why they chose that word, just 2 holidays. New year. So new, you're basically, it's like this, except you open this hand. New. Boom. New. New year. And then day, or New Year's, years, New Year's. Remember we saw formal versus informal? Formal, informal, informal. Boom. So New Year's Eve, night. MLK Day. For abbreviations, MLK. And again, with each of these, refer to what's the sign. If you're working with a partner, split them up, teach them to each other. But this video would be incredibly massive if I went through every single one. Chinese, China. There's actually, this is actually a different sign than their sign for China. I believe they do this for China, which is their symbol, their character. This is actually, I believe, the sign for Beijing in Chinese Sign Language. So, but confusion on their part. So, Chinese New Year, right? And I have a cat that's trying to come in. Valentine's Day. This is gray. He may come up on my lap, so just so you're prepared. Heart Day. So I'm using the middle fingers to draw a heart on my chest. Don't do Valentine's Day. Heart Day. And I suppose I've seen it with this too. Valentine's Day. VD. Don't do that. St. Patrick's Day. Pinch. So it's a little pinch. Pinch. St. Patrick's Day. Or just St. Patrick's Day. Easter. Just wave an E. Easter. It's also a sign for emergency. Memorial Day. Now, I've seen memorial, like to look back on something or to honor something. And that's the way I've seen it. Memorial Day. And I know there are some regional variations on that. Again, take a look at what's the sign. Juneteenth, I've double checked that. I may insert a video when we get to this slide to double check some of these. And again, we don't use all of these in everybody's life. I don't remember the last time I've talked about like Memorial Day other than saying it's a day off, right? So go through and find the ones that are most useful to you, but be familiar with all the other ones. So he goes through in that video that I'm sharing at the end of this when I go over the vocab review. Labor Day, International Deaf Day. There's also, some areas will have Deaf Month and Deaf Awareness Month and things like that. They're always honored a little bit differently. So Kent State doesn't really do much with it. Halloween has a bunch of different signs. In the regional signs snapshot, he talks about a bunch of the different ones. So take a look at them. Halloween, I've seen Halloween or Halloween. Some people do Halloween, like you grab the mask and pull it down. So again, there's regional signs for each of them. curled up in front of the heating duct. Day of the Dead. I don't take a look at the what's the sign for more specifics. Veterans Day. I mean, Remembrance Day tends to be more British. So Thanksgiving, there's two Thanksgiving. So it's like thank you, and then you give it to someone. Thanksgiving. There's also Thanksgiving with a G, Thanksgiving, which is similar to the sign for birthday, which is the middle finger. Oh, why is this not giving me? Okay. Hanukkah starts from the center and comes out, and then Kwanzaa, so it's 4 and 4, 3 and 3. I've seen them palm forward for some, but it seems like both are acceptable. It's the movement and the hand shape that's most important. Christmas, in Northeast Ohio, most people do this. Christmas, this is the most generic one. Some people do Christmas like Santa Claus's beard. And for this, I think of it as half of a wreath. So here's your door, and you put a wreath on it. Christmas with a C. Birthday. There are tons of signs. There's a lot of regional signs for this. So in Ohio, you'll most see birthday, or the generic, and then it comes birthday. Some people, this is a little too graphic for them. Arrive day, birthday, or birthday. That's one time where sometimes from here, they'll do the upward day. Wedding, different than marriage. Marriage is, chimpanzee hands. Wedding is two hands, like the cover of, almost every wedding program. Shows the two hands joined uncomfortably together. Anniversary, we go with celebration, or sometimes you'll see annual celebration for anniversary, or wedding anniversary, or wedding every year celebrate. So there are different combinations you'll see. Vacation, or family reunion, family, or family, like everybody comes together into a group. Class reunion, graduation reunion, homecoming, HC. All right, buddy, go ahead. Festival or expo. Some people expo. There's a deaf expo that happens usually every year. Vendors, deaf entrepreneurs, people who have make deaf products will often be there. Things you'll see this everywhere. This little hand shape. Olympics. So you're doing the rings. Olympics. Boom, boom. And then we know break versus break, semester break, spring break, winter break, holiday or holiday break. Holiday break seems redundant. So for the holiday, we take an interruption. We take an intermission. We take an interval. And then also you can do like break, work off, work laid off, work finish, work break. Okay. So there's lots of, or school. So you will see different combinations of all of those signs together. Remember that I'm trying to think of what they're called when you've got in pieces of information all like in circles, and then you draw lines to show which ones are connected. Oftentimes a complex ASL sentence will look like that, where there's a bunch of different signs that all summarize a meaning. So you'll start to notice that a lot of ASL grammar, as we get more complicated, starts to do that. And then conversation starters, take a look at the conversation starters in there. You should be now able to pick out individual signs. As I say, if you can grab a partner to work with to sort of analyze and figure, oh, what's the signing? One thing that will really help is, can you sign what they signed in the video? That will help go, oh, I get that. Also, can you write down those signs in order? Not the English order, but the ASL order. Like your favorite holiday which. If you write it and you write it all in capitals, it's called a gloss, and it's a good way for taking notes on sentence structure and sign order. We can talk about in class recent vacations and things like that. And then here are the vocab, and I'm going to insert. Oh, no. I'm going to insert in here a slide with that vocab for 5.2. So 5.2 is tagged onto 5.1 because it's really a pretty short chapter. So yeah, that's it for 5.2. So take a look at the conversation starters and start working your way through that. Those should be pretty easy.